What's going on, guys? So today we're gonna go behind the scenes. Y'all are gonna go behind the scenes on a shoot with me. My lovely wife was nice enough to help me out with this shoot. I'm gonna get her food afterwards. So that's how I kind of bribed her into helping me out with food, right? So we're gonna be trying out the AD100 Pro. Godox sent this to me and asked if I could try it out and make a video. This is not sponsored, just trying this out. So shout out to Godox for sending me this AD100 Pro. And we're also I'm gonna just talk about my process and show y'all some behind the scenes and some off-camera flash photography tips. All right, y'all, so I'm gonna go over the gear I'm using. I'm shooting with the Sony a7 III, the Sony 85 1.8. I have the XT2 from Godox and a 20-inch glow deep parabolic. I also have my 42-inch. Y'all see me talk about that a lot, but we're just gonna shoot with this. It's a smaller setup. So that's what we're gonna shoot with. Let's get straight into it. All right, y'all, checking in with the commentary. So first off, for these first couple shots, you will see that I did not use the flash for this specific shot right here. I don't think the flash fired, but you will see me using the flash later on for some of these shots. So first thing I want to talk about is just kind of the look I was going for. So we were kind of trying to do a lifestyle type shoot in a urban type setting, I guess you could say. I think it went really well with what the wife had on, and you can see we mixed up a lot of different, we had some bright colors going on. I think that's kind of like a peach color, the kind of turquoise going on with the shoes. So wanted to incorporate some different cool colors. You could see right here, I really like this setting. I like the texture of the wall, the red door, and then the blue kind of wall. I think it went really well with what my wife had on and kind of giving that urban lifestyle type look. So your location choice is huge. I was really trying to find something that matched the style I was going for. I was kind of worried in the beginning because I couldn't really find a spot, but we stumbled upon this wall and I was like, yep, I'm going over there, because the wall really went well with what she had on. And that's something that you really want to think about with your shoots, is your location, because I feel like it has to tie into what the client or the model has on. Like if my wife had a dress on, it wouldn't have went with this location. So that's really something that you want to think about when doing your shoots. You need to think, does this location match the look that I'm going for? And that can really just elevate your shots right off the bat if that background and location really ties into the outfit that your client has on. All right, so for this set, we moved to a different spot. It was just kind of to the left of where I was shooting previously, but just want to talk about my setup a little. You can see I'm using a smaller setup, and I just want to show y'all, because you don't have to use a huge setup. You don't have to have a huge modifier. So I just want to show y'all that with this shoot. I used a 20-inch glow deep parabolic with the AD100 Pro, and I just want to keep my setup small. You know, carrying around a lot of flash gear can be a headache, especially if you're just shooting by yourself. So I wanted to keep that setup small and just show you that you can produce really good results with a smaller setup. Maybe you don't have the budget to get a huge modifier and a very powerful strobe, but this shoot is showing you that you can still get some good shots with a smaller setup. So you can see, because the AD100 Pro is just 100 watts, it's not a very strong strobe. So I had to keep it pretty close to my wife, and I was shooting close to about full power for most of this shoot, because it's not a very strong strobe. And you have to keep in mind too, if you're going to be shooting high speed sync with something like this, I just don't think it's made for that, because it's not strong. I would have preferred using my 200 or my 400 just to have some versatility and more output when it comes to power. So, and once again, location is huge. I think the pole kind of tied into the colors that my wife had on, and just kind of the downtown setting really tied into the look I was going for. So a quick tip with flash, the first thing I do is I set my ambient light. Now, it wasn't super bright. I didn't have a lot of harsh light, because sometimes when I'm using flash, I'll have, depending on the lighting situation, I'll have my shutter really high, maybe 1/8,000th of a second, just to bring down that ambient light. Especially if I'm going for more of a moodier type look and trying to cancel some of that ambient light out. But for this, I really wanted to show the environment, and I didn't have a lot of power with this flash, so I think my shutter was around maybe 1/300th of a second. All right, so for this set, we moved into the street. So Something I'm always keeping an eye for when I'm shooting is the light. Where's the light coming from? What type of light do I have? So I seen that the sun was kind of setting. I had some nice golden hour light in the background, and I think that looks beautiful when it comes to using off-camera flash, and you can really bring in the sky and those colors when you're using flash. So I'm always looking for that golden hour light, or when that sun starts to set, and I will place my subject in that direction to get just a beautiful background light. All right, so for this last spot, I found this spot as we were just kind of walking a little bit, and I think it really tied into the look I was going for. I really like how the brick kind of offsets what my wife has going on. It really gives me that urban look that I was going for. So I really like this location. And then here I'm just getting some different type of shots. I have my wife kind of squatting down. Once again, just changing up small things to get different shots. And you can see right here, I moved my light because she was actually facing to the right and I had my light to the left. So I think that shot still turned out pretty well, but I wanted that light to hit more directly on her face. So that's why I adjusted it. And that's something to think about also, just slowing down when you're using flash and paying attention, looking at your shots and paying attention to how that light is hitting your subject, and then making adjustments to get a better shot. All right, y'all, so my final thoughts on the Godox AD100 Pro, and just want to do kind of a small review and let y'all know about some important things I think you need to know about. Have my notes so I won't forget. So the first thing, you get 100 watts with this light, which is not a lot. So that's something to keep in mind depending on what type of situations you're going to be using this strobe. And if you may need more power, you do not get a lot of power with this strobe. So just something to think about. The price of this comes in at $299, which I think is kind of steep for a 100-watt light. Just my opinion. I think that's a pretty steep price for what you're getting as far as power output, when you could just get something like the Godox AD200, which is 200 watts, or just get a bigger strobe than that, like the 400 Pro. So just my thoughts on that. As far as the battery life with this, you get 360 full power flashes. So Godox, the batteries are always really good, so you could use this light for a pretty long time. So just some quick pros about this light. As y'all can see, this light is super small. It's about the size of a soda can. So it's just very small. They call it a pocket flash, just very portable, something that won't take up a lot of space. And I like that when using flash gear, because you can start carrying too much stuff, having big modifiers, big strobes. It could just be a lot of stuff to lug around. So it is convenient that with this light, it's not very big. Now you do take the hit as far as the power output with this light, but I do like that it's super small. I mean, look at that, y'all. It's like a soda can. So I love the size of the strobe. So another thing about this, you can use this with the AKR1 kit. So if you are a V1 user and you use those accessories, you can also use them with the AD100 Pro. So they're just small modifiers and gels, I think the grid and the barn doors. So just different accessories that you could use with this. So if you already have that, that comes in handy, that you could use that with this flash also. Also with this 100 Pro, you get the modeling lamp feature. Now that's not a big deal to everybody. It depends on what you're going to be shooting and if you think that will be something that you need. I found with the modeling lamps, it's not something that I necessarily need, but they do come in handy with certain situations. Like if you're shooting at night, maybe you're having trouble focusing and you're trying to put that light on the subject, or if you're using it just to kind of see already how the light is going to be exposed on your subject versus having to actually fire off a flash. So that's when a modeling lamp can come in handy, but I know a lot of people don't really care about it or need it. So let's talk about some cons now. So like I was saying, this is a 100-watt light, so it's not very strong. So if you're going to be shooting high-speed sync and shooting in very bright conditions, this light just isn't gonna cut it. And if you want to use it in those situations, you're gonna have to keep this light very close to your subject because it's not a lot of power. So when you mix that on top of using high-speed sync, which cuts down your power, you have to keep this very close to your subject. And then in certain situations, depending on your settings and how bright it is, you still won't be able to get the exposure that you want because it's just not a very strong light. Me personally, I shoot in a lot of outdoor bright conditions. So for me, I probably won't use this a lot for that. This is more so for a photographer that's shooting in a controlled setting, maybe a studio photographer, or using it, you know, as a rim light, just a kicker light or something like that. But using this as your main key light, I just think it's better options with the 200 and the 400. I don't think that's what it's made for, first of all, but I think it's more so as an accessory light. You know, maybe you want a bounce light or just use it as a rim light. I think this is a great option, and it's super small. And also, like I mentioned earlier, you can get this for the same price as a 200. So something that may cross your mind is this worth getting when I could just get the 200 and I can get more power and have more versatility with the 200 versus just getting the AD100 Pro. So something else to think about. All right, so my final thoughts. I think this is a solid light. Maybe you're a beginner and you're trying to get into strobes, or maybe you're a V1 user and you want to step above that. I think this is a good option. It is kind of pricey when you could just get a AD200, but you could use this in a lot of situations. Like I said, in a controlled situation, as a rim light, just an accessory light, or maybe you need this to just bounce light in a situation. I think this is a good option. It just really depends on your budget and if you're willing to spend $300 for this, or if you want to go a different route and get something else like the 200 or 400. But it is a solid light. I'm happy to have it. So shout out to Godox for sending me this. And if you want to learn more about flash photography, check out my series on my channel where I cover a lot of different things when it comes to off-camera flash. I'll link that series in the card up top. Thank you for watching this video. Be sure to hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe for more videos. I will see you on my next video.